Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into biology, the science of life itself, and we're going to do it fast. We're going from the absolute tiniest molecules all the way up to, well, you. Okay, to really get life, you have to start with this simple, kind of wild fact. You are an incredibly complex collection of molecules, and you happen to be living on a rock where chemistry just got really, really interesting. So let's break down what that actually means. So what is biology, really? At its most basic level, it's just a very specific, very cool type of chemistry. You and I, we're basically just a big collection of molecules that figured out how to walk around and talk. Now, this seems like it should be an easy question, right? But honestly, it's pretty tough to pin down. Scientists still argue about the exact definition, especially when you get to weird stuff like viruses. But for the most part, we can all pretty much tell the difference between something that's alive and something that isn't. And this really gets to the core of it. The difference between a cat and a rock isn't so much what they're made of. At the atomic level, it's all the same stuff. The difference is what they do. Life is this special set of actions, things like eating, growing, and reacting, that non-living things just can't pull off. And every single one of those amazing, life-defining actions, well, for every living thing we know of, it all happens inside the same basic unit, the cell. Think of it as life's tiny, bustling factory. You know, every cell, and that means every living thing, is in this constant fight to keep things stable on the inside. It's a process called homeostasis. It's why you sweat when you're hot or shiver when you're cold. Your body's trying to stay balanced. Cells are doing that exact same thing, just on a chemical level, all the time. So how does a cell control its internal world? Its secret weapon is the cell membrane. It acts like a super smart gatekeeper. Tiny things can just kind of drift through, no problem. But for the bigger, more important stuff, the cell has to use energy to physically pump it in or out through these special protein channels. And here's a perfect example of why this matters in the real world. Water always wants to move to where there's a higher concentration of other stuff, like salt. That's exactly why you can't drink salt water. It's so salty that it literally sucks the water right out of your own cells. Now, not all cells are created equal. You've got eukaryotes. Those are our cells, plant cells. They're like these big, complex factories with all these different departments or organelles, each with its own job. Then you have prokaryotes, like bacteria. They're more like a simple, one-room workshop where everything just kind of floats around together. Okay, so inside that complex eukaryotic factory, there's a head office, the nucleus. And inside that office is the master plan, the blueprint for everything that cell will ever be or do. And that master plan is, of course, DNA. And get this, if you were to stretch out the DNA from just one of your cells, it would be 2 meters long. A single instruction on that long strand is called a gene. You can think of it like one recipe in a giant cookbook. And that recipe tells the cell how to build one specific protein. And proteins do pretty much everything. The cell has this really clever system for getting that recipe from the protected library, the nucleus, out to the factory floor where the work gets done. It's a two-step process. First, it makes a temporary copy of the gene. Then, that copy travels out and is read by a little machine called a ribosome, which builds the protein. It's incredible, but almost every part of you is built using this exact same process. So we have this amazing blueprint. But how does this gigantic, unbelievably complex instruction manual get copied and passed down from one generation to the next? Well, for most genes, you get 2 copies, one from each parent. And these different versions of a gene are called alleles. Some alleles are kind of bossy. They're dominant. If you have even 1 copy, that's the trait you're going to show. Others are more shy or recessive. You need to get 2 copies for that trait to actually show up. And we can actually predict the odds of what traits you might get using a simple grid like this. So look, in this example, both parents have brown eyes, but they each secretly carry one of those shy blue eye alleles. If you map out all the possible combinations, you see there's a 1 in 4 chance their kid could get 2 of the blue alleles and end up with blue eyes. It's all just a game of probability. So remember that 2 meters of DNA we talked about? How in the world does that fit inside a microscopic nucleus? You pack it. You pack it really, really tightly. The DNA is coiled up over and over again into these dense little structures we call chromosomes. Now, this whole system of copying and passing on genes is amazingly accurate, but it's not perfect.
And it turns out that those tiny little imperfections are actually the engine that drives all of life on Earth.
We call those imperfections mutations. And really, a mutation is just a typo in the genetic code, a random mistake made during the copying process. Most of the time, these typos don't do anything. Sometimes they're bad. But every once in a blue moon, just by pure chance, a typo can actually be an improvement.
And that's where natural selection comes into play. The environment itself basically selects which traits are the most useful. If a random mutation helps an organism survive better and have more kids, well then, that new trait is more likely to get passed on to the next generation.
This is the perfect way to visualize it. Imagine you have a family of yellow grasshoppers living on green grass. Then, a random mutation causes one of them to be born green. Now, who do you think the birds are going to see and eat first? The yellow ones, right? The green one has natural camouflage. It survives, has more green babies, and over many, many generations, that beneficial trait can spread through the whole population. That right there is evolution in a nutshell. So why does all this matter to us right now? Because this exact same process, mutation and natural selection, is happening in real time in hospitals all over the globe. Bacteria are evolving to become resistant to our best antibiotics, creating dangerous superbugs. It's a powerful reminder that evolution isn't just some story about dinosaurs. It's an ongoing arms race that is shaping our future right now. And it forces us to ask, what's the next great evolutionary challenge we're going to face?